Desire is energy. It rises in your body, pulls at your attention, and pushes you to act before you think. For most people, desire is something to chase or something to fight. You feel it, you react, and often it leads to frustration, wasted time, or regret. But what if desire isn't the problem? What if it is actually a signal, a raw force waiting to be guided? Light intelligence is the skill of noticing desire before it controls you. It is the quiet awareness that lets you pause, breathe, and decide how to use that energy. When you learn this, desire stops being a distraction and becomes a tool. That restless energy can fuel focus, creativity, discipline, or meaningful action. It transforms impulsive cravings into deliberate power. Think about it like water. Left unchecked, it floods and destroys. But channeled through a canal, it spins turbines, irrigates fields, and nourishes life. Desire is the water. Light intelligence is the canal. Together, they turn raw, chaotic energy into something useful and alive. This is not abstract thinking. It happens in small moments every day. The impulse to check your phone, the sudden craving, the flare of anger or longing. Each one is an opportunity to notice, pause, and redirect. So here is the real question. If you could see every desire clearly before acting, and use it instead of being used by it, how would your life change? There's real science behind this. In one study published in Psychological Science, researchers found that people who practiced simple self-control exercises, like pausing before acting on a craving, were much better at managing impulses over time. They didn't just resist less. They learned to redirect their energy toward long-term goals. That means the same desire that once triggered bad habits could fuel something positive, like study, work, or creativity. Another experiment in emotion showed that when participants labeled their emotions, "I feel restless," "I feel excited," they were less likely to give in to urges. This tiny act of naming created a gap between impulse and action, a gap where light intelligence can shine. It's in that space, where you notice what's rising inside you, that real change begins. This isn't about weakness or self-denial. It's about training your awareness so you don't just follow every craving without question. It's about turning the heat of your desires into something you can work with, rather than something that works on you. So now I ask you, what if every time you felt a strong urge, whether for food, rest, ambition, or connection, you practiced that little pause? What if you used it to turn your raw desire into power instead of letting it run you? Successful people know how to turn raw desire into focused power. Take Richard Branson, for instance. His drive to build the Virgin Empire didn't come from luck or random ambition. It came from deep, restless desire, a constant urge to explore, take risks, and push boundaries. What made the difference was how he directed that energy. Instead of letting excitement or frustration scatter him, he channeled it into launching businesses, exploring new industries, and turning challenges into lessons, transforming raw impulses into disciplined, purposeful action. The same principle shows up in sports. Serena Williams channels the heat of competition and the raw energy of desire into precise movements on the court. The frustration, the adrenaline, the urge to react instantly. She doesn't fight it or ignore it. She notices it, shapes it, and lets it power her performance. That is light intelligence in action, the ability to recognize instinct and desire, and then guide them with focus. Even small daily examples matter. A writer might feel the desire to scroll social media. A pause, a breath, and a decision to write instead channels that energy into creation rather than distraction. A young entrepreneur might feel anxious about investment or failure. Noticing that anxiety and letting it sharpen strategy rather than panic is the same principle. In every case, success comes not from suppressing desire, but from transforming it. Raw energy becomes purposeful movement. Impulse becomes power. Every desire carries information about what matters to you, but only awareness, light intelligence, can turn that fire into something lasting, meaningful, and productive. The real question is this: if every urge you felt could be shaped into action that truly serves you, how much closer would you be to your goals right now? The truth is, most people waste their desire without realizing it. They chase distractions, give in to impulses, or suppress urges until they explode in frustration. Desire is energy, and energy always moves. If it isn't guided, it will move you, not the other way around. Self-improvement starts with noticing this. The first principle is simple. Awareness comes before control. You cannot shape what you do not see. The second principle is redirection. Once you notice desire rising, ask yourself, where can this energy serve me best? A sudden craving to act, to speak, or to create can become fuel for learning, working, or building relationships. Redirect it into something that aligns with your long-term goals. The raw fire doesn't need to disappear. It needs a channel. The third principle is patience. Transformation doesn't happen instantly. At first, desire may resist your guidance. You may slip, react impulsively, or feel frustrated. That is normal. Growth is measured not by perfection, but by persistence. Every pause, every conscious choice, strengthens your ability to use desire as power rather than waste it. The fourth truth is that discipline amplifies energy. Light intelligence is not just noticing, it is repeated practice. The more you pause before acting, the more your instincts serve you. The more you channel urges into purpose, the more effortless focus becomes. Desire becomes fuel for creation, not distraction. Finally, self-mastery is understanding that power lies in the present moment. Your next choice is always an opportunity to turn raw desire into progress. The fire is inside you. Your task is to light it carefully, guide it, and let it illuminate the path forward. Ask yourself, what could you accomplish today if every impulse became a tool instead of a trap? Most people live as though desire is something to react to, rather than something to understand. Every urge, whether it's ambition, curiosity, or attraction, carries a message. It tells you what matters, what you've ignored, and what you could create if you learn to guide it. Raw desire is powerful, but unchanneled, it often leads to frustration, wasted time, or repeated mistakes. The key is not to fight it, but to notice it, pause, and decide how to act. When you start doing this, small shifts begin to compound. You begin to use energy that once scattered your focus. You turn impulses into choices, and choices into results. You discover that the same fire that once distracted you can now drive creativity, focus, and personal growth. Each pause, each conscious decision, strengthens the bridge between instinct and purpose. The deepest truth is this: your desires are not enemies, they are raw signals of your potential. The question is not whether you will feel desire, but whether you will let it guide you, or whether you will guide it. So here is the question that matters. If every desire you feel could be transformed into deliberate action that serves your highest goals, instead of controlling you, What kind of person would you become? And how would your life look tomorrow?